Welcome back, everybody, here on a Tuesday. Get right to it. Big shout out to the chat. Let's get started for our first session of the week. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, 12 noon Eastern. It's a little late today, summer hours. Today we're going to review the summer playbook. But to get started, go to harmonictrader.com, become a basic member. You guys know the deal, and get the TradingView software. I'll work with that today and the eSignal program. One side note, so I'm going to put off for one more week the option presentation. I have to. So it'll be next Friday. And my apologies again on having to change that up. It's just, I probably shouldn't be pushing a 3-hour session right now on my shoulder. So I'm still kind of getting over that from last week, and I think it's going to be best. But I'm going to be here on Thursday as well, and then have some updates for members real soon. Let's get started today. Got Google, Microsoft earnings, whole bunch of tech coming up, and we have some interesting things on longer term time frames. And I think Google is a good one to start with because this one has been probably one of the more ideal scenarios. Go to the daily, sorry. And we're stuck at some major targets up here. So I'm watching for earnings today. If this is massive bullish case, then we pop. This is just a pause, which I think it is. Then we pop and eventually make that run to the 886, 140, 145. Let me, 1 second, let me bring over the other software. Big shout out to the chat. Welcome back, everybody. What's going on this week? Put in the chat what you want to look at. We'll get to crypto momentarily. I think there's a lot of things to consider at the moment. And we're hitting some major levels for the first time on various instruments. And I think, looking at Google coming up into earnings here, not nearly as strong as a lot of the others, but, we're hitting some short-term swing 886 retracements, some Gartley right off the bottom. But it's ever since the around $93, $90. We've been on that. Oh, let me get that. Sorry, wrong. Here's the proper. I had the wrong screener on it. There you go. So longer term, I still expect Google to trade eventually up as high as make a run for the all-time 886. Those that haven't done it yet, I think it's probably a target that you put off till the end of the year or into January. But, that's really not a stretch. It's, like I said, 145. Even if we have a pullback after earnings, you saw Netflix do that. I still say this uptrend and even stuff like a monthly HSI here that's probably going to persist until you register overbought. And that's, I would say, 3 or 4 more months before you even tag it and can roll over. Great to see everybody here. What's going on, David? Thanks as always. Great to see you. Alex, Miss Stephanie. Thanks for connecting with me on the Discord there. Lace, YOY, Frashogar. Hey, it's been a while. Where have you been? Anyway, looking good. You guys want to look at things like Micron and Space and Coin. Maybe a Nat Gas update. Looks pretty good. Neo. Yes, Neo and the EVs. Continue. And, maybe a few new ideas. There have been some ideas recently that have popped off that took probably 3 or 4 months before they did nothing for 3 or 4 months. So let that be a lesson. Just because things aren't popping off yet doesn't mean it's not around the corner. So great to see everybody. Again, we'll go through those. Tell you what, let me get right to it with looking at the Qs, looking at the SPY, because we know the deal. We're up here at, talk about 886 retest. That has been, really for the last few months, our first objective. Not ultimate, but first objective. And what I'm looking for in this area is confirmation of some kind of resistance. Not there yet. Because this could bust through the 886, could go to the 10, but I mentioned this before. Generally, we think like that. If we're going to have some kind of larger complex move, I would be thinking, where's the W formation? Could that be a deep crab? If that really takes off, or if it blows right through the 886, in terms of longer term possibilities, okay, then we also said that connect the dots for right now. This is really, in the short term, up to that 886, a shark pattern. Few people have asked me about this, where to get the information on this. I'll show you in a second. This all comes from that volume 2 book put out a long time ago, but it's slightly different metrics than other MW formations, but that's the shark on the Qs, and that's like 393, 394. So watch that. I mean, it's coming in close. We could hit it pretty quickly and get rejected, like we saw a pretty massive rejection last week. But that was really a first kind of response type of thing. So QQQ there. Let's just do the SPY, get that out of the way, and then we can go to individuals where it's same deal. 886, connect the dot shark. This shark, probably a little bit higher because your B to C down leg needs to be a minimum 1618. Just kind of helps define and reinforce the structural overbought level. So that's up at 485. 30 higher. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. This could be a 90 or 6 month time frame. But we're targeting that monthly. Again, I don't see how this could be a close as an ugly candle on the month. Something else to consider. Last couple of months, super strong. How is that going to finish next week? Are the Qs going to finish under 440? I don't think so. So they print anything above 450, 455, even make a run towards the end of the month. 5 days. This week. That's going to be a really solid weekly, monthly collection of candles. There you go. Interesting to note that we've had this weekly HSI signal, but ever since we instituted the yellow dot as that ultimate confirmation, this has been straight on through. There's one bearish candle. There's the signal. Check back bar. One bearish candle. Now, as we've said, the yellow dot comes in because it recognizes the divergence or whatever the resistance setup is. It usually takes a few candles. We still haven't seen that second bearish candle to even mark it. Strong. I mean, again, just strong, strong, strong. Target these 886 retracements. Target this stuff where it's not a stretch. Might get some bumps along the way, but the 886, you go back, retest the all-time high. I think most people are looking at the all-time high. We'll gauge it when it gets to the 886. Those top 5 tech, of course, Microsoft, earnings. What are you going to do here? Software is printing this crab pattern. I think it's quite interesting, but it's been so strong into the zone. I would almost want to wait for some kind of 3-bar breakdown before thinking that would pull back. We have a yellow dot here with confirmation. It's an ideal structure. This one did complete all the components of the shark, so I'm looking. If we connect the dots for that weekly chart, of course being the leader, that's why it's number one, that's a shark. That's a bearish shark with confirmation. What's the only problem with it? It's, almost doubled in 6 months. So it's strong. I'm just regarding that as saying, hey, even if this popped a little bit higher and then rolled over, all right, but it's more about the trend line, uptrend line. Well, no. I mean, if this is a big move, if it's an Nvidia move where it blows off, then this sets off, could potentially set off the rest of the year. I think that's how big tonight's earnings, even the rest of the week, is this going to blow up? What do you guys think? Do you think this could blow up? Do you think this market could do some kind of crazy blow up? Because it does seem we're getting long here in the tooth with this move. And you go to stuff like Nvidia, which that can be number 2. All right, that just continues up until we get to the 1618. That's super strong. Does that seem like it's overextended yet? Well, 1618 is like this. And that has been our minimum objective the whole time. That's 495. Call it 500. And then come back down. My guess is that things are kind of ramping where you could get this thing to truly pop off in a much larger move. And that being the massive exhaustion move where forget 1618. I mean, that would be a minimum objective, more like maybe 1902 to 2.0. And I mentioned before the 314 is like that, but could be something like that, and then nice round trip. Seems to be setting up. I mean, where this is becoming a speculative run, starting to get some legs behind it, and seasonality for sure. Don't underestimate that. A lot of seasonality coming in. That is, I think, in terms of every 4 years, you have that presidential cycle. Now you've got the Bitcoin cycle. This stuff helps. This stuff really does help. So there's Nvidia. It just last week was trading in the 430s, then came back. What happened there? Check it out. Deep crab at 442, and it was a type 2. Tough to see, but here it is. This is why Nvidia still is on the list. Type 1 there, came back, type 2, and now go. That was just yesterday. 460. And you haven't registered anything yet today for Nvidia that would really concern me. And oh yeah, it was an alternate bat right off the top. A lot of levels at 445 for Nvidia, and I think going forward that's something to watch. The other thing I want to trace out with Nvidia was, remember the preceding deep crab, and we're seeing this as well. That is potentially a strong return move back to retest that deep crab pattern. I think the ones that have your ideal setup with the type 1 move, confirmation now that came in last week, starting to trend higher right off the start of the week, you're going to make that run, retest, XA level, 4-hour charts. I think Microsoft is the same way. It's 4-hour oversold for sure on Microsoft. Was it hourly? Oh, I know what it was. It was Meta, which, let's look at Meta because same deal. 315, 318 down to 290. There you go. Couple of oversold levels at 290. But daily chart is just more about getting rejected at its weekly levels. The long-term targets, the daily, weekly, same pattern, same chart. There you go, there's weekly. So is that it for Meta? We're at target 2 at 296. No. Structurally, it is really end of the type 1 reaction at target 1 right there. But you haven't registered anything between target 1, target 2. No overbought yet. Your latest one or your last one was all the way back down here that it blew through. So you haven't done anything to alter this uptrend. And look at amplified RSI on Meta on the weekly. It's trying to roll over, but hasn't come out of the zone. You're extremely early. I expect this level and the recent highs between 296 and 310, you're going to hit that a few times before that would roll over. So just understand that last week was a nice reaction flush, but I think that's all it was. Be looking for a lot of these to go back and retest their daily or weekly levels. Yeah, Meta is right there right now. Hold on. Meta, what is Meta down here? There was something, maybe it was Netflix, which I do want to look at. But a lot of yellow dots, a lot of oversold levels on hourly or even 4-hour charts. That's not it. Let me go to Netflix because they did get punished. And they did have the 4-hour chart. I'm not. Let's go here. Here you go. There you go. We had a deep crab up there, like at 470. And then target to all the way down here to 430. Generally, I'm starting to look, but I would prefer Netflix to come all the way back down to this 413 level, 410 maybe, and register something down here. So not quite yet. I do think a lot of these that get clipped are going to give you opportunities really soon. And go to the daily. Okay, here's the deep crab, and this is the thing for Netflix I find really interesting, where clearly a reaction. Okay, we're back down into the zone where you're retesting that HSI signal. Is this it? Is that just a sharp reaction? There's no follow through yet, but keep an eye. Keep an eye. That's on daily. And it's almost about to go back into the oversold. So I think that needs a little more time. It's probably, like I said, around 415 minimum. What's going on with Doge? You keep putting in Doge. What is that, popping off? Maybe. All right, I'll get to crypto in a second because I think, let me finish up this top 5. So Netflix, And let's look at Apple. Kind of shifted that around, but Apple's still just kind of climbing higher. I think 200 is the logical, psychological level everyone's looking at. But until we can generate some kind of overbought signal in this zone, it will just continue to climb. Probably up into earnings. There's nothing there next week. Week from Thursday. There goes Meta right now on the 5 minutes starting to pop off. So keep an eye on that. The five, really, before I leave that, here's the 5 minute on Apple. And probably go back. This was the pop from last week. Probably go back another shark pattern, just retest that. Again, we're seeing that so many times. Bearish pattern, reaction, and then come back and retest the zone for the type 2. Couple of more. Let's look at some of the crypto stocks to transition to the crypto, because those did pull back and now they popped. We looked at Riot. I think that was on a 4-hour or hourly. Yeah, there it is. So I mentioned this last week. Riot is a type 2 bat pattern where we're looking for that to be a continuation of this longer term uptrend to go up and test your target ones weekly. Looking for something larger to develop from, even from here. 32.38 on Riot. So I again, still early in that, but we've also said some of those other ones. Bybit, no, Bit Digital, one of the low floaters, as we say, speculative, under $5, but still in development, and you want that to turn into something like CleanSpark. CleanSpark, another one. Bat pattern, long term. Trying to get to target 1. Now above 5. That was at 3. Give it, plan how that's going to move into next year, because that's the time frame it needs. But big patterns looking left. A couple other ones. Well, I can look at those. I can look at stuff like Intel in a minute. Yeah, circle back. I just think these are a lot of these that got hit recently. I mean, take a look. We had that Riot. Here's CleanSpark. I meant to bring this up. So CleanSpark just doing another little reaction off of patterns. There's one reaction. Another one. Nothing just yet to signal that one. What about the hourly? Got a bat pattern. Yeah, I thought so. So that's a little better on CleanSpark. Look at that hourly. That's this week. So these are in a better spot than last week for sure. Couple of more. Yeah, I'll look at Intel. This is one of the longer term type forever situations, but we've had a lot of these type of patterns. So this is probably one going to really catch some acceleration into the fall. And I think $30 is the number. Stay with that. Look, a lot of these are either coming off of massive bullish patterns or about to retest big bearish patterns. That's AMD on the weekly. Here's the daily. Yeah, I mean, AMD just continues to push higher. Don't think you can see it too well, but look, there's the zone. So not even a type 1 move where we can go back to 125 pretty easily on that or retest the highs. 128, 130. A number of these have set up like that. Applied Materials just doesn't want to come down. Had a couple of high level HSI signals. I think this is, you respect that. It's not easy to read, no doubt. But look, there's Applied Materials back to back, going back the last 2 years. Beautiful deep crab, and then to a shark where there's the completion, but then signals a bullish continuation. I would say go back even higher, maybe as high as 151, because that's where your 886 is. It wouldn't be a surprise. This stuff takes time, but there you go. 886 on Applied Materials is 156. Really quick for today, here's the thing that here's Meta really quick. That's starting to move. And like I said, they're coming up Wednesday. So here's the deal on Meta. Is this just a little pullback? 4 hour? Yeah. Been watching this since yesterday, this 290, 295 area. I think it's go to the hourly. We have this crab pattern. So if you're looking for opportunities, again, into these earnings, this could be one of them. Haven't had too many ideal patterns on even 5-minute time frames in the last few sessions. But this one popped up yesterday and been really looking at that closely. This is earnings tomorrow. So maybe options on something like that. And some of the other ones we can address on Thursday. Sure, James. Tesla. I think Tesla's a great one to watch because it's been all over the place. So great trading action, in my opinion. And that's usually a better thing than even if it just goes straight up or straight down in one direction. Where's the 5-minute? There you go. That was yesterday on Tesla. In the pre-market, and then it just never looked back. Just took off right off. It was a bat and a crap pattern that were generated off of Friday's action, and then that was it. I think this is going to continue to be squeezed between this 250 and 270 level. Nothing here immediately on Tesla, and then you go to the weekly or daily even. You're generating patterns up here. You're generating patterns there, even if you got back to 290 level. I'm looking at this rejection of 295 for Tesla as potentially it for now. We got to see how the next easily 3-4 weeks shape up. But that's a pretty clear target 2 rejection with confirmation. It's the first HSI, at least between target 1, target 2 for Tesla, that I would start to look, and then let's see the trend line. Any pop, I mean, if you do pop from here, I think 290, 295 is a place to unload it for now. A few more. Let me talk about some of the ones that, they're tech, and I've mentioned them before. They've just taken time to really get up there. Here's Qualcomm. Okay, and Qualcomm had a bunch of, not the best patterns, but generally 110, 112. You're now 125. That's starting to move. Agilent. This is an interesting one because it's a weekly type 2 where you finally have some progress there. Point being here, I've mentioned it before, don't lock up just into the top 10, those top five. I mean, we always want to be monitoring those top five, but we want to start looking at larger ones like this further along that are, clear type 2s. I mean, that's a clear type 2. Couple of more. A couple of areas really quick to cover. Crude oil. 2 seconds on crude oil. You are starting to make some progress. There's light sweet. Daily. We know that. Where'd it go? Where's the weekly? All right, sorry, not weekly. Let's go. There it is. All right. That's the monthly. But we know that's not what I wanted to show. 1 second. Let me go back here. Sorry. I forget where this is. I don't know why that pattern. I had a bat pattern at around $70. We're now almost 80. I'm not too concerned about this until we can trigger above 80. If we get into the 80s, I think you guys know what I'm going to say. We'll finally start the first breakout of a midpoint to give you some kind of B point after 6-8 months of sideways actions. And that's not even a good one. Let's go XLE. That's a little bit better because we know we've been in a type 2 actually. There's the type 1 that came in last spring. Perfect type 1 down to 67, then back up for the retest. But what's happening? If there's no follow through here, which suggests now, okay, range bound, but go higher into 95, excuse me, 90.56, $91. And then maybe generate something overbought really soon. But that's higher for now. And some of the ones we featured, like Chevron, okay, took forever, but there you go. Can you get going off of the Gartley? You're looking for 177. It just, again, 4 months, 3 months sideways at the type 2. 178. One or two more. Marathon starting to get away. I mean, this was a really difficult because there was no confirmation, and it hit the XA level on the Type 2 perfectly. So that thing's gone. One that we did catch that took a while is another one is Valero. Okay, a couple of pattern, a bat pattern, smaller crab pattern, all around 107. And now you've got some legs here where we just hit target 126, 127. Let's see what it does. I'm looking for something to happen in crude that we haven't seen for a while. Couple of more. Nat gas. So nat gas really has not done much, but potentially trying to put in a bottom off of this is UNG. So there's a pattern. I'm not going to deny that. It's not the greatest price action here, but you are trying to put in a confirmation low. You have HSI signaling down here that if that can really pop out of the zone and get above $8 on UNG, then you're back in business. So this has been something we've been watching for a while, but we know it's probably months away before even doing anything. Here we go. S&P is actually starting to rally. I'm watching this. Meta's 296 now. Here's Meta, folks. Yeah. Yeah, there's that crab pattern starting to come in. I think, there you go. That was the one I just kind of featured about 15 minutes ago. That would probably be the idea of the day right there. Couple of more. Somebody wanted to look at Coinbase really quick, and I agree. I have to look at Coinbase. It might flop around here, plus minus 100, even by $10. But I'm more interested in this situation, that consolidation zone, but this daily crab pattern where maybe we're just kind of going to go sideways as we grind out of that zone to go to target one. Kind of reminds me of that extended Bitcoin pattern, but you know, I'm looking at coin. Couple of more. Yeah, let's see what's going on. I mean, SPY's, what's SPY doing here? Highs of the day, folks. There you go. Hop level hitting now, 455.78. Ridiculous. Should bode well for tonight. What's going on with, I mean, Nvidia's up 13. Apple's up $1.15. Google's announcing tonight. Now they're starting to move. We started out today with Google, and look at that. There you go. And then what else is, you got Microsoft now up 5. So what's maybe one or two that are still beat up? You still have Tesla negative on the day. You have Netflix negative. But we're looking at Netflix as potential turnaround, at least for a short-term pop. There's Netflix. Yeah, it's got a bearish bat pattern. It's already a type 2, but what's the hourly? Not as nice. Couple more. Yeah, I know Fed tomorrow, and these could really just be zigzagging up and down. You're looking for stuff that, though, that's kind of overdone from last week, and it still could go back, retest the bigger levels. Here's Amazon. Again, Amazon was another one that setting up on the hourly, real nice continuation pattern. It just completed yesterday. Okay, and not a bad place to start looking, at least. And this could go through a 1-2 scenario, much like we had last week. You know, had this bat pattern, type 1, and then came in a type 2. So Amazon could do something like that and then down. If you're going to take a shot at 128, just know for this to be something much larger, it would just have to blow through. This probably makes more sense on Amazon back down before earnings next week. But you've got patterns setting up, no doubt. Bullish patterns setting up. This was also, I think, a deep crab up here. No. Doesn't matter. You're dealing with a bat pattern right there. That's the kind of continuation pattern within this uptrend that you're looking for. One or two more. All right, dried, drip, dried tie-dye. Cool name. How many shows? Square, block. What do you have? Here's another high-level 4-hour continuation. So you got earnings. That's potentially big, and you have to kick it out to this longer-term time frame because we have talked about this before. This probably, probably got to get this. That's ready to go. That's a weekly shark pattern. You're going back almost, 3+ years. Nice consolidation. You're above the zone. I mean, you just need to get into the 80 whatever, and that should really set it off. Even a nice look at this. I think anybody could trace this out like here. There's your first low, come back, head and shoulders, bang, and then there's the right shoulder, and then go. A lot of things like that have been coming together on those type of big concept stocks that got crushed. Here's Shopify. Same deal. There's daily earnings next week. Deep Crab. Okay, perfect one. That's a type 2. All right, I'm careful on that one because that's a type 2. But if it did give you a pullback, I would look at that next pullback retracement as an opportunity in this new uptrend. There's the weekly. Couple of more. Victoria, how are you? And you are right. The Dow has been remarkable, and it does matter. Here are the diamonds. We're about to hit the 886, which is the target all along. But the way this is doing it is something that can't be ignored. When you're up 11 days in a row, that's telling you something behind this. It's not, and it's not a blow-off move. I mean, this is kind of like just a stair-step, day-over-day explosion, trying to bust on through. Interesting to note that the last HSI signal, I talked about this in the monthly report back in June. That should have been the key trigger where you go to the hop. And what happened? We blew right through. I mean, we were looking for a retest as high as like 347.56. We're 355. So this is, look, this is something to take really sharp notice of. And I'm really glad you brought this up, Victoria, because sometimes we overlook this, and in the last 2 or 3 years, it makes all the sense. What is this going to do now? If we're connecting dots, is go to the 886. That's 360. You're 355. You're 1% away. What happens there is going to be the big deal, because this type of shark pattern is more like a 113 because of this. That B to C leg has a 1618. All of that says 380. So beyond 380 is, you want to see fireworks or the Dow do something, much more substantial, major move. It will happen above 380, but 380 is not a crazy target going into the end of the year. Notice that for the year, the Dow isn't up nearly as much as NASDAQ, so it's starting to broaden out. I think you see that Chevron, you've seen that Goldman Sachs, and Microsoft definitely helps it. Other ones, like we said, 3M, I don't. Oh, maybe we didn't mention that, but 3M. There you go. And not to mention then things like McDonald's, all-time new highs at 300 just last week. This is what's going on. I mean, you're doing some really remarkable things now. It's I just want to keep my eye on, will this continue through these levels, because the big test is coming, and I don't want to oversell this and say this thing is just to the moon right now, but I want to see how it acts at these 886 levels. We blow through there, then you're looking at much larger continuations into next year, where you're up 30 this year on the Nasdaq. Next year you do 20. Wouldn't be a stretch for next year with the kind of seasonality coming. But the big test at the 886, that'll tell us. Okay. We're going to come back on Thursday, but for now, I do want to kind of update the crypto situation, because we do have some things to go on. Bitcoin has hit this shark pattern, and we'll just do the top 5 on crypto and wrap it up. But if you guys have 1 or 2 crypto, I'll look at that. Near all, Disney is just, we'll save that for Thursday. I appreciate that. Alex, if we want to look at currencies, save that for Thursday. Rig, Transocean, it's Thursday again. Thursday. Bring these ideas Thursday. Let's just do a quick top 5 on crypto, though. Shark pattern, we said that all along. You're up there, rolling over in the 30-day window. The 886 at 28,358, call it 28,000, is structurally where you want to see this. You want this to come down and hit 28,000 and then register some kind of oversold reading to set up the larger move. And there's only one move. Come down, hit this, and then it begins on that test. If you're bullish, we're going to anticipate something to start coming to this market that's going to be more than more inflow, more action than the last 2 years. It's going to start on this pullback. Shark to a 5-0, 5-0 continuation to not only the hop, but through the hop. That's the bull scenario. That's what we'd be looking for, but not until that hits. I like what I see in certain individual things popping off, and that's an encouraging sign. You need more of it. That's number 1. Number 2 is Ethereum, and so I don't know. I don't have much there on Ethereum, but I think we'll get something soon. It'll either get a quick oversold reading or maybe 4-hour. Maybe you retest this deep crab, but I still say under 1,800, you want to look for opportunity. Above 2,000, probably more resistance. Eventually, yeah, you go to 2,400. I mean, we'll get there, but not until other things start firing off. Number 3, again, we switched up this list last week, and let's make it XRP. What's going on? It tried to do another run up to the 80s and then rolled over. The 4-hour time frame oversold. I know the daily. Did the daily hit that? Not yet, but I talked about this last week as the potential end of the type 1 because it hit the target. I mean, we can't deny that that's by definition, hitting target 1 is the end of the type 1 move. No matter what happens beyond that, from a pure pattern play, our number 1 objective, first time every pattern has completed, is to go from XA level to target 1 as the minimum. And that's what it did. So it's kind of tough to think that you would come back for a type 2. I'll wait. I'll see what happens. I think we can come back actually to like 50 cents because I think we could come back and retest this static support back here, 55 cents, which was the former resistance zone. So don't go for moon just yet. That's the point. Even 4-hour time frame could do something like this. And if you're, I did see that surprisingly XRP is now on Coinbase, so that's a good thing. I just saw that this morning, but there you go. Can we get something like that on XRP? To 52? 55? I wouldn't chase it up here. Not yet. Not yet. What's going on, chat? Good to see everybody. Hey, Daniel, Squirrely, Crypto Taurus, Ivan, Niral, Justin. What do you guys think about crypto? Do we look to buy it on this next whatever? A lot of things aren't doing much. Let's go to number 4. And I'm looking Cardano, 28 cents on this next test. Give me some kind of consolidation, confirmation down here. The thing that's interesting about Cardano is that you do have, you had a really nice complex formation down here on the daily in your amplified RSI. Now we come back down for what I've been saying is a necessary secondary test. And if that's 28 cents or under 28 cents, that's the place to look because it will be the second longer term retracement against this low. And you have everything there. I mean, it is a 2 of 2. There you go. Against this deep crab pattern. Couple more. That's number 4. Number 5. So I'm going to start to mix up the list so we can just generally cover more of these. But someone did post up Doge. And so Doge is something that with what is happening over at X, or formerly Twitter, is what's going to begin to be, I think, a narrative. The bigger thing on Doge is that has respected the patterns, I think, as much as any other crypto. And we do have some big things like this on the daily that's a 2 of 2 on Doge. You're popping today, I know that. But it's a type 1. You could possibly come back for another type 2. We have talked about Doge at 7 cents for probably a year and a half or 2 years, even since the peak. I think I said that I thought Doge at 60 cents, I thought Doge would come all the way back to 7 cents, and it did. There's a little perspective. Okay, 8 cents. I mean, just talk harmonics here, harmonic levels. Do you have patterns? Yes. Do you have some levels and confirmation? Generally. Is this thing a total scam? I don't know. But if it's going to be adopted in that way, where you start to hear moves of this getting integrated with this new version of Twitter, and they finally do something, okay. I'll participate in that speculation, and I want everyone to think about it like that because you will have those pop-off moves and you'll get retracements. But this is the kind of longer-term chart where it's not a bad thought. There's your initial low, secondary, potential secondary low with a ton of patterns there. You guys are running this right now. It's now at 8 cents. You also know if you want to go on a fun trip with Doge, go read my posts. Go back a year. Excuse me, go back like 2 years. And go on here, search here, search my feed. And this was something I know a lot of you know, but new people don't know, where go like this at Harmonic Trader and Doge and follow through the post where we caught this on that first run and then dumped it all right before that big Saturday Night Live thing. But that's really something to check out. I'll put that, actually, I'll type that into the chat and maybe put that in as a link. And that was all because of the Elon Musk thing, but we had patterns. And to me, that's what crypto is. Crypto is simply it's a big speculative market where if you got narrative and that brings volume, it's worth the attention. And we had, when you've got multiple patterns like this down here, I'm gonna watch it closely. And I think the support level is still 7 cents. And you could go back to somewhere here of, eventually 14 or maybe 20 cents. I don't think that's a crazy, if something pops off with Doge, I think 20 cents could go. So I just wanted to bring that up because I do see this thing after months and many attempts to break down under 7 cents, just hasn't. So something's going on there. Something's going on there. Anyway, a couple more. Let's wrap it up. Again, my options seminar, we're going to push it to next Friday, folks. Just wanted to share that with you. I already had to push it once. And I think it's because I'm going to be in better shape next week. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. Not too many opportunities for longer term options at the moment, but I'll discuss that more on Thursday. At least crypto, hey, that's encouraging. That's a type 1 right there on Doge. A couple other crypto that have my attention. So I like Cosmos. And we're down here again because it's a type 2 off the bat pattern. I think there were some other Gartleys down here. The general number has been $9 all along. XA exactly is around 855 depending on your feed. But the type 2 is there. It's kind of like Cardano, where it's finally set up structurally. Now just give us the secondary confirmation. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for posting. I'll update that. I'll send that to you and we'll update that. A couple of more with these. Some of the bigger ones. Take a look at Matic. Still hanging in there at the 70 mark, but look, coming back in for a retest. If this came back in to 52, it's probably the place. It's not a type 2 because you didn't get to target 1 officially, but kind of looks like that's where it's coming back in. What is it on Tether? No. So a few of these that popped off from a month ago, no follow through. Quickly coming right back down. Perfect one to look at for that, and we've mentioned this. Keep an eye on Bitcoin Cash. Is this going to do something more, or is it a pop and roll? I said this last time, 220. If you're under 220, you're under 210 on Bitcoin Cash, I'm sorry, this could come all the way back down. It looked like it could do something on the weekly, try to at least be the first move of something larger. No, nope. That's a problem. I mean, that's until that can change. I think mostly in Bitcoin or Ethereum, where they really start doing something, even just moving for a few weeks. They don't have to. That's the thing. Something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, they don't have to go ballistic. They don't have to go to all-time new highs. Okay, but Bitcoin, if it could just put in 4 or 5 weeks of continuous green candles, much like what we saw in the Dow Diamonds, then that would trigger you to say, all right, hey, it's building. I mean, there's something there. But that's not what Bitcoin's really doing at the moment. Rest of crypto's same situation. You need to see that build. I think we'll get it. We'll get it soon. Get that retest. Couple more, because I do think there's some interesting things like Doge, where all right, if X becomes something and then he starts tweeting about Doge and it pops off, well, that could pop off and it could get something going there. Another one is this Ethereum Classic, and I'm looking in this zone. I have a little bit of this. I think I have a little bit of this around 17 or 18 bucks. Not much. But to take a real position in this, we haven't even generated a 3-bar reversal yet, and that's what I'm waiting on. That's one of the better longer term patterns, but not yet. I didn't even look at Binance Coin, which is probably good, but I might as well. Another one where we're looking at you're looking at Binance Coin for signs of bad things. So that's the kind of the concern. If Binance Coin doesn't hold here and it fails 200 or 220, much like Bitcoin Cash, those would be bad signs. You're looking for good signs. There are many other patterns that are a lot nicer setups to take advantage of than Binance Coin. I don't have any bullish setup here in Binance Coin, but again, you don't want that. You want that to hold up. I mean, at a minimum. A couple more. Hey, Halim is looking for Litecoin, and I mentioned Litecoin last week. I was talking to Miss Teen Crypto. It was a good conversation. Check that out. She's got a good show. She runs it, I think, 5 days a week in the morning. I was talking about how Litecoin was one of my first crypto, and got me thinking, okay, is this going to be something? It's still around. I think I bought my first Litecoin at it's like 15 or 17 bucks. Now 80. Is this something that will be make a move on the next run? A couple of patterns down here, $65, $70. So again, just read it cold. It's range bound, and that range is like 110 where it is now down to 70 bucks. I don't think that changes. The weekly's better. Yeah. We need things. I think with such a sluggish consolidation kind of you would even think you're hoping this is the start of what they call an accumulation phase. Okay, where distribution that happened all the way up in here became your markdown depreciation, and now stabilizes, makes your inflection low. There's confirmation, but we want to see this thing give you some kind of boost. Litecoin, if it got above 115, that could be something, but I think it's going to take time. Couple more. Someone said, what was the other one? I don't know what that DYDX is. Someone mentioned that to me a while back. Yeah, I know. Again, not doing much. There's that kind of a chart. If it doesn't move, you're not, and you're surprised. Why? And this is a problem with a lot of these smaller crypto is that they're stuck on the floor of these ranges, and that could go sideways for another 6 months or a year. And sideways meaning from 150 to 3. Even though that's a double, you're looking for a lot more. I mean, stuff. Here's Solana. I thought this relatively recent pop off the low. Wasn't a crab pattern down here? It was, yeah, deep crab. But there's a Gartley. Software was kicking out, and you're back down at 23. But I'm not, I still haven't been really a big fan of Solana. I thought this would have to come all the way back down for a type 2 under 12. Almost got there, but take a look at the long-term weekly. I think that's pretty interesting for Solana. Maybe back to 17. I think we're going to get opportunities. And if we get like a sell-off, like I said, with Bitcoin back to 28,000, it's probably the flush. We're looking for a flush. Why not say it? On a lot of these, you want these to flush back down and set up that sell opportunity that if it's in, August or September, so be it. Hold on. 1 second. Got to look at Netflix. Netflix is turned around on the day, going positive. 128. All right. One or two more. OP. Sure. What's up, Red Nose? Stuck. Not doing much. That's Binance US, and again, that's the daily on that OP. Where's that bad tick? There, that's better. All right, bad pattern, but let's have a retest. You're 148 on OP, and it's not getting above these yellow dots. 93. Retest it. Probably. And here's the total index. I think this is fairly impressive that you continue to stay above 110 trillion. Excuse me, 1.1 trillion. But nothing pops off until you can clear that out and go to 125. We know that this is another, just like Bitcoin, it's a crab pattern where target 1 at 1.65 is, that's what you're gunning for on looking for total crypto market cap. And that probably mostly comes with Bitcoin versus total 3, which is total T-coin index. I mean, take a look. The bat pattern, that's it. You know, the bat pattern that did the type 2 has capped it, and you're still in this long-term crab pattern where you're squeezed. 250 billion at the hop level is still a part of this relevant zone. I don't think anything is going to happen on those smaller coins until you can generate something. It's you know, I'm looking and looking, it's just not there. More like, let's circle back. So that's the deal in crypto. I think the stocks are probably the better place to be looking for opportunities. We'll see what earnings come out with today, folks. With Microsoft tomorrow, Meta, Even stuff that's been beat up like Netflix. I want to watch that. You're checking back at a high level spot. If this isn't going to fall apart now, maybe you get some sympathy. I like what I see with some of these others though. Some of the ones that have pulled back on like the 4-hour chart. Where was it? Meta. There you go. Here's Meta. So just keep an eye on a lot of the big tech top 5. A lot are oversold at the moment on these 4-hour charts. So it just going to give us another opportunity within this, what we have talked about all summer long. All right. Again, next Friday, we'll do the options. That's going to be on the 4th. Everyone else, go over to harmonictrader.com. You know the deal. And sign up as a basic member. Get with the software. We're going to do longer term options then, and I'll update that this week. I've just been trying to catch up at the moment. Appreciate that. Come on back Thursday, folks. Until then, have a great one. Go get them. We'll see you on Thursday, 12 noon Eastern.